Hello and welcome back to Exeter City, where my transfer window dealings in January were somewhat thwarted by the fact I couldn't sign any more under 21s this year. League-wise, we're ticking over nicely though. I'll get you caught up. In fact, the entire January transfer window, other than John Stones' exit, amounts to two people. One out, which is a player you never saw in your lifetime because he was one of those such players who came in when they turned 18 and wasn't good enough. And I never bother you with those, but I've sold him for $3.5 million. Not quite sure what Roma were seeing, but they agreed to $3.5 million and just 50% of any future deal. So if he does turn out any good, then we'll at least make some more money when they do sell him. If they sell him. And we put that $3.5 million straight into Jan Neubert, who I now realise doesn't have a face. From a relatively happy hunting ground of Czechia, as they now call themselves. Good physicals, mentals are there for an 18-year-old, and technicals can be worked on. Simple as that. He's effectively of the same level as Augustin Pereira with a tiny bit more potential, seemingly. But considering that at one point in this season we did lose all of our front three, and I don't think Ozan Kazoo actually has the quality to step up and be a fill-in player more than he is already. Neubert or Neubert, I'm not quite certain how they pronounce that in, the Czech Republic as it still is in the game, but I'll go with Neubert for the time being, in case they don't pronounce it the German way. I'll look it up. He has the work rate, he has the determination, so whatever potential he has in the future, I'm hoping he will find it, and be a darn sight better than Ozan Kazoo is, who's still worth a relative amount. Probably should have attempted to sell him, but I'll do that in the summer maybe. But that's literally it. We last met, of course, with the Spurs and Newcastle, 1-0 to them, 1-0 to us. Ciro Fernandez with that goal. January was very much two people's month to shine, as Facundo Prieto got 3 goals against Fulham, all 3 of them in fact, and Fulham did pull 2 goals back through Fabio Carvalho, who's still there in this world. Yeah, made it marginally concerning towards the end, as we were very much dominant in that game, and we picked up 2 further injuries in a period of time where 4 of our South American under-21 players, actual players who are in on my first team, were away on international duty. I had to put in 2 people from the under-18s on the bench just to make up the numbers. I had to play one of them, Ewan Swan. He got a 6.4, and then we put in another relatively good performance against Liverpool, which ultimately ended in defeat though, nonetheless. It was an even game. Actually, we just conceded 3 goals because Robert Sanchez, when it matters, just decides to be useless. 6.2 from him in that game. But a man who was surprisingly not as useless as I was expecting him to be is Augustin Pereira, who very much stepped up. With Carlos Eduardo returning to fitness, decided that he wanted to make a challenge for this first team position, did Pereira, by scoring 4 of the 7 goals we scored against Leeds. Prieto Avalos with his first headed corner goal of the season. 6'8", 16 jump and reach, 15 heading. His other goal this season came from a free kick set piece, where both he and Carlos Eduardo did exactly the same thing in the same match against Sunderland earlier in the year. But yes, we have very much added to Leeds' woes this year by beating them 7-1. Preston in the FA Cup dealt with Arsenal 1-1, where I forgot to take off the backup goalkeeper, so we weren't punished that badly for that decision, or lack of, thankfully. Now, I thought I'd bring you 2 teams towards the bottom of the table, because it's been a while. We've started playing matches on camera against the better teams, the teams around where we are now, so I thought we'd just check in those teams that are towards the bottom, and show you, hopefully, the way we like to play against those teams. You know, the teams like Sunderland, who we've beaten 4-0 twice, and Leeds, who we just beat 7-1. Love the fact we only beat Preston 2-0, who are in the Championship. Watford in the next round, that's why I've not bothered with the FA Cup either here. Couple of the squad midfielders returning to fitness. Saunders is unlucky to be on the bench now, thanks to Pereira and Ramiro Uribe, who's just got a brand new contract. Finally managed to give him one without a release fee. So enjoy that, Uribe. You're being paid probably too much at this stage, but I'd rather keep that wage nice and high to keep you happy for the time being and prevent people from stealing you. But actually, we are full strength at the moment. Sanchez, Martin, Avalos, Ampadu, Tibera right back, who sort of been plugging away with relatively good performances of late. Hesham and Mansley, Markovic, Fernandez, Carlos Eduardo and Prieto. Yeah, the Tibero thing just took a little bit of a while to get up to speed, I think. Just acclimatisation probably the bigger factor there, but now averaging 7.04. It's not bad, and already 1 goal, 3 assists now. We were thwarted in the transfer market for 2 separate, different central defenders. One you saw last time, actually. as he went to Manchester City, and Monaco beat me to another one. I'll be honest, I think this team's probably as good as Monaco's now, but they have European football, obviously, and we don't, which is probably the deciding factor, because we were paying him roughly the same amount of money, and we offered the club that he was at more. Robert Sanchez has been in good form of late, said that pre-match person. Yeah, the last match he played, we scored 7 goals and he still let in a goal. And the one before that, he got a 6.2. So, Tyler Morton's playing for Sheffield. Hello, old friend. It seems he's not progressed past that kind of level of lower end of the Premier League, which is a shame to see, really. Because I do think Sonny Perkins has developed to a point where he is actually in the West Ham squad now. Well, it's a thrilling first 20 minutes as literally nothing has happened. I was about to G the team up here, but Aaron Martin's on a corner. Avalos doesn't get the goal because Facundo Prieto's actually got the last touch there. A little bit harsh on Avalos, who was about to score his second ever headed goal. Well, it's the third ever headed goal because the one from the free kick was still a headed goal. It was just from a free kick, not a corner. But yeah, considering that earlier in the year we had Tyrone Mings scoring 16 or something like that corner goals over the course of a year for Newcastle, it's a little weird that a 6'8" man can't score more than one. Same tactic, roughly. Ampadu's got the ball off Ivan Toney there and worryingly giving it to Sanchez in the dangerous position, who's immediately giving it straight back away. If I could recall Enrique Avalos, I absolutely would. Honestly, maybe playing Iverson in the last match wasn't the worst idea. Did only get a 6.4, I think, in the end. Did get a clean sheet against Preston, but that's Preston. How has Sanchez got a 6.9? Surely he gets the mistake leading to goal for that one, and I have no idea how Fernandez... I was about to say, I have no idea how Fernandez still got that ball, but it's actually been called back for a second yellow, which is a shame. They should have played on, because Fernandez was in. How have you not been gifted the goal mistake there? I absolutely love the fact that I just decided to bring you these two matches, because I wanted to show you how we play against much weaker teams, and, well, of course this is happening, as in, nothing. They've got 10 men now. Admittedly, they are playing 3 at the back, which does somewhat thwart our 3 up front. Tabiro's injured, again. He gets lots of little injuries. It's a bruised shin, actually, so he should be fine, but we'll take him off anyway. With 64 minutes on the clock, we might as well get Castillo some game time. Carlos Eduardo, there we go, find his head, find the net. Simple as that, really. Aim for the 6'8" man in the middle. Problem solved. 2-1. But Mansley whips that one in, and there is the big man in the middle. Beautiful work. Yes, continue with bringing Castillo on, please. I genuinely don't think that assist is actually registered in the ratings yet, because Mansley is still on a 6.7, even though he probably should be on more. Hesham, that was a golden opportunity for a good goal there, but never mind. There we go. 7.1 for Mansley now. Hesham actually the most tired, so off you come, sunshine. I think that's still Jonberg Henriksen's best position. And what we'll do now with Markovic tiring too is bring Mansley forward and bring on Angelo in the box-to-box. Don't know why they wanted me to put Prezert in the box-to-box. That is absolutely not his role. He's not a physical person whatsoever. Thank you, game, for not understanding my players at all. What a mad game, by the way. Just in the background, rocking up 32 shots and scoring 2 of them. Prieto with the corner. Eduardo's there and wide. 6'8". 2 6'8" men on that near post, and neither of them can put the ball in the net. Their goalkeeper, despite conceding twice, has pulled out the mother of all performances there. And Sanchez, despite giving away their goal, has left that match with a 7. How do I find out what the game actually considered as the mistake there? I want to say we weren't good enough, but I'll get the guaranteed motivation. To be fair, playing against 10 men, actually harder than playing against 11 in this year's game. Martin got player of the match against Arsenal without actually getting an assist last time as well. Just 2 back-to-back player of the matches for Aaron Martin, who didn't actually get didn't get a goal contribution in either of these last 2 games. Not sure what's going on with Aaron, but I appreciate it. I will just say, I was trying to get in a central defender just because we only had 4 of them, and at one point we were down to 2 of them, and it did have me marginally concerned that we didn't quite have the strength in depth in central defence. I thought we'd be okay even with Stones going, but yeah, January proved me wrong almost immediately. This guy is already coming in at the end of the year, which is why despite the fact I was thwarted on those other 2 players, I want to be able to sign them anyway, I now realise. This guy is coming in the summer, so he'll turn 18 in April, he'll join in July. He's reasonably good already. Physically he needs a little bit more work, but 6'1", hopefully he may grow another inch or 2. But he's got a competent jumping reach for 6'1" anyway, so it's not that bad. pretty much, actually, the only future signing, like long-term future signing that we've done, that's actually been any good when they arrive. Marginally annoying, but finally got one right, seemingly, in the form of Cosminho. Tell a lie, it's probably the second, because Ciro Fernandez was pretty solid when he arrived as well, and he was a long-term future signing. We signed him when he was 16, I think, and I had to wait a couple of years to get him in, and then we loaned him out anyway. But had we played 3 up top, our facilities are just fine, thank you. Well, I argue you can never have good enough facilities. There we go, lovely. I swear my board's mentality changes on an hourly basis. But yeah, the ones that will actually cost a bit, we're at that stage now, 10 million between the pair of them. I figured we had 40 million in the bank and we weren't spending the transfer budget, so why not? In fact, I think that might actually be the last training facilities. Youth recruitment actually finally ticked up to 19. Oh, for the love of God, Carlos Eduardo. I'll be honest, I actually did think Eduardo was older than he was. Oh yeah, Bayern Munich bid for him in the January, but he agreed to 63 million as a sell price, and they went nowhere near that, thankfully. I was just checking his thing if he was injury prone. No. For a man who isn't injury prone, he's actually been out longer than people who actually are injury prone, especially when you add those at least 3 weeks to the equation. Like Prieto, actually susceptible to injuries. One of those injuries happened before we signed him. He's twisted his ankle. That's the only major injury he's had under us. I swear injury prone is the one scouted hidden attribute that is absolute nonsense. I find when it comes to hidden attributes and scouting, like hates big games, that's the one that's the most accurate. Consistent can be relatively accurate, but injury proneness, I think I've only had one player who was listed as injury prone and was actually injury prone in 3 years. In case you're wondering, that was Lewis Cook at Newcastle. And so here we are at Burnley. One change to be made, quite simple, and I feel no need to do anything else because Pereira is perfectly solid in that role. 8 goals in 10 starts for him. Of course, 4 of those were in one game, but everyone else has been pretty solid of late. Burnley still have Weghorst. They have Manor Solomon as well, which is a surprisingly good pickup for them. They also have a Carlos Eduardo, which does get confusing when we play them. I'm sure they'd love our 6'8" one as well there at Burnley. But Burnley not entirely out of the mire yet. At the bottom end of this Premier League table, there's sort of 3 that are very much worse than the others. There's a 4-point gap between 17th and 18th, and then Burnley are a further 5 points beyond that. They've got a good 9-point buffer as things stand, so I'd argue it's 3 from 4 at the moment. Tiberio on this right-hand side. Prieto puts the ball in. Fernandez at the back post. He's only 5'10", but he scored. And it's another assist for Tiberio, who I did say was sort of coming into his own now. Not the best technically, Tiberio. His strengths lie in physical and mental, particularly the mentals. But more than good enough with that cross, and their goalkeepers had a moment there. They tried to palm thin air. I'd heard good things about Dragowski in this year's game. That's not sold me on him. Playing out from the back are Burnley here. Pressured into going back to their goalkeeper once more, though, to hoof it only as far as Hesham, who isn't tackled. That was a pass from Hesham. I did have to check the text there. There was a slide tackle from behind that went in, but seemingly Burnley got away with that without any damage. Prieto, good tackle from Hickey. Just had to pause a moment there, as could have been a penalty. You never know with this year's game. Aaron Martin, there's no real clear indicator what is or isn't. Oh my lord, Prieto's kept that. Sorry, can we just take a moment there for Prieto's skill to keep that in play? Sanchez dinks that one. Well, he aims it at Fernandez of all people. Pereira, though, has got on the end of the ball, the person he should have been aiming at, and I mean, it's an excellent finish and it is counting. Ignore the fact it's gone back to the referee here because Pereira's run off with his arm up, so we know it's counting. Don't really know why they pulled the ball for offside. It didn't look like it was offside to me. There's a man down here. But Pereira, that is a really lovely finish. It's almost like an understated lovely finish. There's not that much force on it. Closer to being offside than he looked in real time. But sort of side foots it with a decent amount of force, but not smashes it. Oh, good. Another injury, but thankfully in a position where we've got probably too many people. Knee injury. Oh, God. I'm actually going to bring Angelo in there. 14 passing. Actually, he is probably a better passer than he is box to box, I now realise. Yeah, go for it, Angelo. Did get an assist when he came on the other day, so why not? Get him some more game time, in particular. Get him a little bit more development. There's a run on the left if Markovic wants it, but sort of created the space for himself, but tackled before he could make any more use of it. Tabura rises for that one. Tiberio again. Still Tiberio. Back to Mansley. Tiberio. Between Tiberio and Mansley here. Can't really decide who wants to put it in. They made their decision, and we've scored. You'll do well to see a better goal than that, says the text. It's not that good a goal. It's a good cross, and it's a good finish from the shortest of the three strikers. I think I lied. I think Fernandez is 5'9", and Prieto is 5'10". I know one of them's 5'9" and one's 5'10", but I can't remember which way around they are. And then, of course, Pereira at the moment, 6'3". They should still be aiming at Pereira. It might not be the 6'8" man, but, 6'3" is more than good enough in that respect. Prieto, Markovic, clean through here. Markovic, where are you going, Sunshine? A bit wide, but into the box he goes, and it's Fernandez for three of the same goals. It's remarkable how Burnley haven't caught on to that yet. 4-0, 38 minutes played. 3 different assisters, worth saying, but the end man and the end result identical. Although I think actually he headed that one near side for his purpose. The other 2 he headed across the goal. And I want to see how many of that exact goal we can score in this game. Just keep trying it. Keep going for it. Prieto, you go for one this time. Almost. Good God. It stayed in play. Fernandez with an excellent touch to come down. Words are hard. Another corner. 3 minutes to be added on once we get to half-time. It's almost exactly the same goal, but this time from a set piece. And it's Prieto, I think, with the assist. I don't know if anyone got on it in between. Yeah, I don't know if anyone got in between that, if it went straight to Fernandez. That's why I put a striker at the back post now. Prieto is credited with an assist, so no, it didn't touch anyone. 5 different assisters. One of them is not even on the pitch anymore, but Fernandez with 4 first-half goals. This is what I wanted to show you. This is the team that played Leeds. Don't know what happened last game against Sheffield United. This is the team that turned up against Leeds. Their Carlos Eduardo goes for it, but we have scored 5 goals from 11 shots on target this time round, rather than 2 from 15. Oh, Ampadu has gathered that wayward clearance and has... Oh, he's gone into the final third as Ampadu. He's figured, well, that Burnley aren't really bothering with attacking, so I might as well go up the other end. Prieto. Couldn't have walked that in any better, quite frankly. That was an Arsenal goal. But for Exeter, it's the classic IT crowd. They do like to walk it in. I don't know why they're looking at this. What? Who's offside? Oh, is Prieto offside in the build-up? Possibly just, yeah. I mean, the lines are there, so... I was going to say, he passed it backwards. It can't possibly be offside. Avalos, well, if you're going to get a second headed goal, that was the time to do it. Still only an hour on the clock, and it is actually a chance for Burnley, maybe. They've got a runner in the box. It's Solomon. He's offside, though. Tell you what, it's not Aaron Mine's best game. An hour gone. Cherry Small on. Might as well. We're 5-0 up. Cherry Small has actually developed. Now, I was considering getting rid of him because it didn't look like he developed much, but he has developed. I think, in fact, in regards to star rating, he might actually be regarded higher than Aaron Martin, but that might be his homegrown status factoring into that. Now, Mansley and Markovic are the 2, although Fernandez with 4 goals. Is this a standing ovation moment? I think it might be a standing ovation moment. Let's get Ramiro Uribe some game minutes. He's just signed a new 4-year contract. Let's see if we can get him in on the action. Cherry Small will throw it to Markovic. Uribe on the ball now, and sort of getting a little bit lost, but helped out by Angelo. Small on this left-hand side. People to cross to. He's going the wrong way. Angelo. We've scored the same goal, but this time we've done it the other way around. And Angelo with the assist. 6 different assisters. And it would have been the case had it been Small as well. But Angelo has had 2 substitute appearances in the last month and has assisted on both of them. I don't know, tell her. He came on last game as well and didn't do anything. But might have to keep an eye on Angelo and his development. The only issue he's got is the fact that he is permanently a substitute, because there's no way he gets in ahead of Mansley, Hesham or Markovic as standard. Well, Uribe has scored there, so it's nice to see his lethal instincts. Good God, he hit that with venom. Offside though, clearly. Yeah, nothing to get excited about there, but... Sorry, has Uribe genuinely scored 9 goals this season? Miles off. I didn't realise he'd scored that many. Prieto to whip this ball in. Pereira is... Who's going to take this? Do I have a competent penalty taker on this pitch? It might be Tiberio. I'm intrigued to see who's going to take this. It is Tiberio. He is my best penalty taker. I had a feeling he might be. Go on, Sunshine. Never mind. Get the ball back. Why don't you just assist a goal here instead? What? Go for it. It's 6-0 up. If you're ever going to miss a penalty, that was the moment to do it. Ooh, it keeps threatening me with a highlight, but we've actually got one now, as Hickey's going to be sent off for a completely needless push in the 91st minute. I nearly signed Hickey because I wasn't certain if I wanted more depth at left back. Aaron Mine's been a little bit injury prone this season, so I did wonder if I wanted to get a little bit more in, but there was no real good value for money in that market, or the centre-back market. And in regards to new gens at centre-back, there's not a lot I've noticed. We've got one of the better centre-backs coming in already, as I've shown you there, and we've signed another one I think that might be quite good in the future, but he's 2 years old. 4.81 XG. I know there's a penalty in that, but I mean, we've scored 6 as well, but 20 shots on target. Dragowski's ended with an 8.7. He's let in 6 goals, but because he saved a penalty, one of their outfield players has ended with a 7. What did he do to get a 7? I don't know why that's a 10th goal of the season for Uribe on the disallowed one. He's only scored 5. I didn't think it was that high. I think it weirdly conflated it with Prieto, who'd scored 9 league goals, and he was the one who assisted the goal. Can we just talk about Prieto, by the way? I know he scored 10 and 12 last year. I know his output is technically lower this year, but his average rating, good God, he is consistently fantastic. Genuinely the best £6 million I've ever spent. He will cost me $3 million more when he plays 50 games, but still money well spent. And you know what the fascinating thing is? This 6-0 and the 7-1 against Leeds, we're now getting the nonsense results that the other big teams are getting. I've sort of talked about it. The further you go into a Premier League save, these massive scorelines from the big teams happen more often, it seems. We're finally getting them. Pereira is 1 appearance away from making 10 league appearances, which will increase his wage to £4,000. How has Prieto ended that match as player of the match? Ciro Fernandez has been robbed there. Oh, and relegation avoidance bonuses have been paid, including to the goalkeeper who isn't even with us. Also, genuinely, the highest rated loanee we've got out at the moment. 23 conceded in 21 with 6 clean sheets. Avalos will be my starting goalkeeper next year. As Brentford beat Liverpool, which is huge as well, because I think Newcastle have faltered of late as well. Which means we have moved into 5th. I don't know why I'm using this tiny table here, but we moved into 5th on goal difference, and 6 points clear of Everton in 8th now. Or 5 if Newcastle win their game in hand. But we're safe, but Sanchez's rating is very much inflated by results like that, where he doesn't actually face a shot, really. I think he faced 2 shots on target and saved them both. So, hardly the most competent 7.8 performance you'll ever see. But yeah, his average rating is 7.07. He's conceded 35 in 27 appearances, but has 9 clean sheets. So take away 9 of those appearances, it means he's conceded 35 goals in 18 appearances when he does concede. Which means when he does concede, he concedes twice. And it's very difficult to know which Robert Sanchez you're going to get. I've just noticed his first season here, 10 clean sheets in that first season he got, conceded 59. Which means he conceded 60 goals effectively in the 27 games that he didn't keep a clean sheet in, which is basically the same rate. And we were more defensively solid at that point, I would have argued, than this current formation. So I don't think you can put it on the defence, because those formations were more focused on defending. He did sign a new contract this year, I believe, and we did remove his release fee, which was crucial. But it's the FA Cup 5th round next against Watford, who are 15th into the Championship, so they're not going to be returning anytime soon, it seems. So I will likely just bring you the quarter-final if we get past Watford here. Either way, I'll see you relatively soon. Until then, thank you for watching. Ta-ra.